Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Dandava Pranam.
Dandava Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome to Shri Shri Radha Vino Bihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupan Guru Guru Varga ki jai, Prati Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giridhar Maharaj ki jai. हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, श्री गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. So we will begin with Mangalacharan, page 1 of this book, Shri Gauriya Giti Guccha, Vandeham Shri Guru, Shri Yutta Padakamalam. Can you give me the remote for the AC?
Haribo Dandava Pranam.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaisnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahabana Raghunatham Vitam Sajivam Sarvetam Samadhutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahabano Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamshcha Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Namine Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudasham Kaudarya Madhurya Puraishcha Yuktam Marinyam Purusham Mahattam Narayanam Tam Shirasham Namami Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromanincha Shri Krishna Pada Jagataika Vritti Chaitanya Lilamrita Sarasaram Narayanam Tvam Satatam Prapadye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtadhya Deshakarine Namo Vishnupadaya Gaurapresthaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragya Keshava Yakti Namine Ati Martya Charitraya Swashmitanam Shamanine Jiva Dukhe Sagaratayo Shri Nama Prema Gaine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Dainaya Kripabhare Krishna Sambandha Vigyano Daine Brahmave Namaha Madhuryojvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktina Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanugam Virudhapo Siddhanto Dhantaharine Namo Gaur Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagyamurtaye Vipralambhara Sambodhe Padam Gurujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugam Varayate Gaura Virhava Bhume Swam Nirdeshta Sajana Priya Vaisnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jaganathaya Te Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Godatvishe Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanto Radha Kanto Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhan Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jaitam Surakopango Mama Mandam Mategati Matsarvasvam Padam Gojo Radha Madan Mohano Divya Vrindaranya Kalpadumada Srimad Ratnagara Sindhasanastho Shri Shri Radha Shri Govinda Deva Krishnanidhi Sevyamano Smarami Srimad Rasarasaramdhi Vam Shivattattvatasthitaha Karshande Musvare Gopi Gopinatha Shriye Sunaha Vrindaye Tulasi Devyai Priyaye Keshavasya Cho Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupasvarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhava Mahanavamni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairavachandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Purivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamritashvadanam Sarvatma Sapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Hare Nam Hare Nam Hare Nam Eva Kevalam Naskeva 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 Gati Ganyaka Hare Shri Guru Charana Padma, Kevala Bhakti Sarma.
Okay, page 28. Shri Guru Charana Padma starts with Shri Guru, C-A-R-A-N-A, Charana Padma.
Page 40. Kripa Karo Vaisnava.
Starts with K-R-P-A, K-A-R-O. If you're new to the thread or to the to this program, if you follow in the thread, go to the first comment or the last comment, you'll find that Jiva Pavana Prabhu is mercifully always adding the bhajans and kirtans that we're singing so that we can all join in together wherever we are in the world. So thank you for that valuable service, Jiva Pavana Prabhu.
Thank you. Page 40. Kripa karo Vaisnava Thakur. Kripa karo Vaisnava Thakur. Kripa karo Vaisnava Thakur. Sambandha janiya bhajte bhajte.
Sanatan
Vishaya Vasana Rupa Chitera Vikara, page 48. Visaya Vasana Rupa.
Just give a second.
Vishaya vasana rupa Chittero vikaro Amaro hridoye bhoga Choriya nivaro Goswamipada ki jai, Shri Sanatan Goswamipada ki jai, Shri Sat Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Nitai Pada Kamala, Koti Chandra Shishitala, Jai Chayai Jagatujrai, page 58. Nitai Pada Kamala. I don't think they have it in KK songs.
I couldn't follow it anyway. Kabe Shri Chaitanya Bodhi?
No? I'm looking for Kali Kukura Kadana Jadi Chaha. Really?
I'll just play like this. What's it called?
Kali Kukura Kadana Jadi Chao. Hey. Starting with K-A-L-I. 156 in the songbook. If you don't have the songbook, then go to the most recent post on the thread. Shiva Pavana Prabhu very kindly posts the bhajan there, so you can follow along with us.
It starts with K-A-L-I-K-U-K-U-R-A. Kali Kukura.
Kukur.
Kukura.
Gai Gaura Madhur Sware.
Page number
169. Gaygoramadhura. Svare, Svare. Page 169.
Thank you, Jiva Bhavana Prabhu, for adding the lyrics. Excellent, Seva.
That sounds just like Prabhupada said. Okay. Very low and very high. I'm very low, this bhajan is very high. Hare Rama Jaya Hari Namo, Jaya Hari Namo, Hari Namo, Jaya Hari Namo. Krishnadeva Bhavantam Vande, Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate. I don't know, 343, I think. Somewhere around there. 343. Krishnadeva Bhavantam Vande. Will it? Yeah. Krishnadeva Bhavantam Vande. Krishnadeva Bhavantam Page 341.
Radhe Jai Jai Madhav
Radhe Jai Jai Madhav Dayate. It's not so hard on this spot. I'll try to keep it quiet. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhav Dayate. Radhe
Jaya Jaya Madhav Dayate.
Radhe गिरिराज महाराज की जय। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।
Mahavishnu Das just joined. Happy birthday, Mahavishnu Das Prabhu.
Hare Krishna
To you, Hare Krishna to you,
Hare Krishna, dear Mahavishnu. Hare Krishna
to you. Dandavat pranam, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Dandavat pranam. गुरवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदान्त नारायण नामिने। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नामिने। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदिनतारिणम्। First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times at the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Ashtotara Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And the same thousands of Dandavat Pranam at the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Ashtotara Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And to all of our Rupanuga Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas past, present and future, including all of those who are present with us today, I offer my Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat pranam, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Did we just lose connection?
We did?
I don't know. One second. Just says error loading. It's still doing the kirtan. Wow. It's very delayed.
No, it means it stopped.
Uh-oh.
I'm just checking.
They saw the happy birthday. Okay. Didi.
Is it back?
It looks like it's back. Yes.
Checking now.
Didi.
Yeah, it's live.
So we will continue going beyond Vaikuntha. Beautiful book, a compilation of heart's revelations of our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj on the great revelation of Sri Sanatan Goswamipada known as Brihad Bhagavatamrita. This book was responsible for inspiring so many devotees to take shiksha or diksha from Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. So before entering into this transcendental literature, we'll pray in the dust of the lotus feet of our Gurudev and Sri Sanatan Goswamipada In the words of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Vairag Juga Bhakti Rasam Prayatnaya Apayanan Mam Anubhikshamandam Kripam Budirya Paradugu Dukhi Sanatanas Pam Prabhum Ashrayami, begging in the dust of their lotus feet that may even a particle of their moods, which are present within these pages, manifest within our hearts. So interestingly, yesterday, Srila Gurudev was speaking about that thing in this world which is considered the most degraded, the greatest misconduct, according to Guru, Vaisnavas and Shastra, that is adultery. In this world, there is perverted reflection of what is manifest in the transcendental realm. So in this world, what might be considered the worst thing, when that thing is applied to Krishna, then it is considered the best and the highest thing. So the mood of the gopis, transcendental love and affection for Krishna, this is the highest thing. This is the opinion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ramya Kachirupasana Vrajavadu Vargena Yakalpita. And we see the proof of that in the prayers of these sages. Sanaka Sanatan Varnita Charite. Srimati Radhika, her love for Krishna is more than anyone else. And she is engaged in ras with Krishna. Parakya Bhav. So what are all the greatest personalities preaching? Especially our 6 Goswamis. Parakya Bhave Jaha Brajete Prachar. Also, all of our Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, coming to our Gurudev and continuing. All of these personalities are preaching this highest conception of love and affection for Krishna, and who are glorifying the lotus feet of those gopis, the 4 Kumaras. Srila Gurudev explained, you know, sometimes when we would chant this bhajan, Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite, the last line says, Sanaka Sanatan Varnita Charite. So back in the day, some devotees, and still to this day we hear it, but some devotees were saying Shri Rupa Sanatana Varnita Charite. And although it is true that Rupa Goswami has written this bhajan, and that Rupa and Sanatana are always glorifying the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika, Srila Gurudev became quite upset. We were there in Sri Keshivji Gaudiya Math. I think it was 1998 or 99 Kartik. And he asked, do you think that you know more than Rupa Goswami, that you can change his words? Or that you can add anything to what he's saying, or take anything away? Why are you doing this? You don't understand why he's saying Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite. Who are glorifying the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika? You know, he said, Cupid, lust, controls everyone in this entire world. Even so many great sages fall prey to lust. But who are those sages that we know are not controlled by lust? The 4 Kumaras. They have forever kept themselves in the bodies of 5-year-old boys, so that lust will not touch them. And even those persons are glorifying the transcendental aprakrita kam, transcendental love of Srimati Radhika for Krishna. They're glorifying her lotus feet. So Srila Gurudev was explaining it like this. We should understand why Rupa Goswami put their names there, Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite, and that we shouldn't add or subtract whimsically from the bhajans of our acharyas in Guru Varga. Every word that they have placed is perfect and transcendental, and it is done for great reason. To show this point, who are glorifying the lotus feet of the gopis, Uddhava, Narad, all the greatest sages, Shukadev, Goswami is glorifying. But that person whom Krishna says to, that you are not different from my own heart, you are not different from my own soul, Uddhava. When Uddhava went to Vrindavan, being sent by Krishna, because Krishna didn't have anyone to reveal his heart to, at least the gopis could communicate with each other about their feelings of separation from Krishna, but who could Krishna speak with? So his dearest heart's friend Uddhav, who was also known in Srimad Bhagavatam as Haridas, Krishna didn't feel like he could understand his heart. So he sent Uddhav to the University of the Gopis. When Uddhav went there and saw the nature of their prema for Krishna, he was completely astounded, shocked beyond comparison, flabbergasted. Srila Gurudev said as he was looking at their mountain of prema, that mountain was so high that his head was rising higher and higher until his top hat fell off. How high he had to reach his head to see, and still he could not fathom the heights of their love and affection. So he stayed for quite some time. And by the end of his stay, what could he pray for? May even a particle of dust from the feet of any particular gopi. Our Guru Varga have said that that particular gopi is Srimati Radhika. May that particle of dust come onto my head. May I take birth as even grass or some shrubs so that that particle of dust may come onto me. May I take birth in Vrindavan as grass or shrubs so that one particle of dust from the feet of the gopis may come onto my head. The greatest, most intelligent personalities, the most brilliant sages of all time are begging for even a particle of dust from the lotus feet of the gopis. What to speak of them? Krishna himself is also praying for that. Smaragarala kandanam mama shirashi mandanam dehi patapalavamudaram. Please be merciful to me and place your lotus feet upon my head. How great are they? How great is their love and affection? How great is their praying? So that thing which is considered the most degraded in this world, adultery or parakiya ras in this world, leaving the confines of dharmic relationship, leaving the confines of dharma and engaging in nonsense activities in this world, in the transcendental realm, in the realm of divine love, which is everything for the transcendental senses of Krishna, for his happiness, for his pleasure, for his benefit. That is considered the highest method of worship. Upasana. That is the highest thing. So Srila Gurudev was explaining that. Narad, Uddhava, the Kumaras meditate on the gopis' feet within their hearts. Those devotees who have developed sentiments like those of the gopis will gain entrance into Krishna's playful pastimes. So in the purport of Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, our Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada explained that the mission of the Krishna consciousness, he said, so our Krishna consciousness movement is how to become one of the Gopi Jan. But specifically, he explained in the purports of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita that who loves Krishna the most? Srimati Radhika. So our mood is how to push Radharani to Krishna. So he's explaining first to become one of the gopis, and then he's explaining what kind of gopi specifically. This is Radha Palya Dasi Bhav. They have no selfish, separate interest to meet with Krishna, only to serve Krishna in the best way possible for his happiness, his pleasure, and his benefit. And that is by pushing Radharani to Krishna. So he is completely in line with Srila Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, all of our Goswamis, our Rupanu Guru Varga. And he himself said that we are Rupanugas, followers in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami. When I was young, it was well known, and also when Srila Prabhupada first came to the West, within the first couple of years, it was well known. After some time, because of the massive influx of personalities and maybe the disqualifications of so many at that time, the preaching had to be adjusted. But same with our Gurudev. He spent many years speaking about the goal, and then he said, now we need to speak about the process to attain the goal. And he started speaking about Prahlad Maharaj Charitra, Dhruva Maharaj, Charitra Chitraketu Maharaj, and so many other subjects. But he spent so much time focusing on us, focusing on the goal. Without a goal, then you won't have any direction. First, you must establish your goal. Now, you must endeavor in the process to attain that goal. But if you don't know what your goal is, then your process cannot be called sadhana. Because sadhana means the practice which one does to attain a particular goal. So the goal needs to be established. Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhava sasarana vida nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam hridi sadhyataha. The goal of sadhana bhakti is to attain bhav bhakti. So we should understand something of what is bhav bhakti so that we can endeavor and practice sadhana bhakti. Until that time, it would be something like sadhana abhas, which is like a shadow or a reflection of sadhana, but coming under the guidance of a true Rupanuga Vaisnava, who's really saturated with divine love and serving Radha and Krishna 24 hours a day. Under their guidance, we can have some idea of what our goal is what is the nature of my soul. They can detect, as an expert gardener detects what is the nature of any seed. So they say the nature of this seed is that it will become a mango tree and produce so many mangoes. Okay, I know now. That's what is my goal. So how do I grow up to that point? Then we need to understand how to nourish it properly, how to keep all of the wild animals out, how to remove the weeds which are choking it. And this is the process of sadhana bhakti, which is included within all of the process of bhajan, which is the general process which contains all of the different limbs of bhakti. So, now Srila Gurudev is saying, did I finish that point?
A bit about Rupa and Sanatan, the beginning point?
No, the next one.
I think so.
I hope so. I know I've said it many, many times, so I was just explaining about this point that Gurudev was establishing the goal first. We must understand what is the goal. Srila Prabhupada was telling also what is our goal. Right? O Radha, O Krishna, please engage me in your service. It wasn't only Krishna, it was together. O Radha, O Krishna, please engage me in your service. The point I was making is that all of our Rupanuga Guru Varga are pointing us in the same direction. That is our goal. I was telling before that when I was little, it was common knowledge among the devotees. And then after some time, it became more common knowledge to be concentrating on we're not our body, that we should be vegetarian, and reincarnation, because that was the most common preaching points that were attracting people. So, but in the beginning, it was a bit different. In the beginning, I wasn't even there in the very beginning. I came a little later, but still, at the time of Srila Prabhupada, when he was physically present, the devotees all knew that our goal was to, how did he say it? I think it cut out again. No. Sudevi?
Yeah.
Did it cut out again?
No, it's
okay. So our goal, who was it, Gargamuni before he became Gargamuni? I can't remember what his name was at the time. It's a black and white video from I think one of the Acharya series in 26 Second Avenue. And he was speaking about so many things. And Kirtanananda was in the kitchen at the time. The interviewer was there, wondering what's going on with this new forming religious movement, the Hare Krishnas. So Gargamuni, it wasn't even called the Hare Krishnas yet. And Gargamuni is telling so many things. He still has long hair and a beard. And Kirtanananda pokes his head around the corner and says, actually, we all want to be gopis. Do you remember that? Have you seen that?
Yeah.
So that was common knowledge at that time. And then after some time, it became less common. And then even the word gopi became shunned. People were going, oh my God, it's too high. There is nothing wrong. Prabhupada said, gopi is not bad. Gopi is good. That is our goal, our aspiration, to serve their lotus feet. But one should not, as our Gurudev told one Vaishnavi, he said, don't make them naked. So this is important. There's no problem hearing about the separation mood of the gopis from Krishna. This will awaken Braja Prem. This will awaken our mood of love in the heart for Krishna and will remove our lust. So it is not wrong to say the name Gopi, or even to hear about their moods of separation from Krishna. Only if we're diving into more intimate ras, when we have zero qualification to do so, then we will tend to misunderstand, and that can contribute to some improprietous, I hope that's the right word, moods developing in the heart. So we should hear from the right source, the correct subject matter, and that will be the cure for the disease of lust in our hearts. If one listens with faith to narration of Krishna's pastimes with the gopis by Anushrinuyat, accepting a pure spiritual master, an ideal Rasik Vaishnava who knows the science of Krishna, then constantly hearing from him, then exclusive sentiment will come to him. This sentiment is our everything, and it will arise in us and give us great happiness. Anuvaranayat, this is in the verse. Anushnayat atavarnayadya. It's from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-39. Anuvaranayat means it is passed on from one to another. What Vyasadeva taught to Shukadev Goswami, Shukadev in turn taught that very same thing to Parikshit Maharaj. And what Shukadev Goswami taught, Sutta Goswami described that very same thing in the assembly of the sages. If it is described like this and one listens with faith, then what will happen? So Gurudev is explaining here, it must come in parampara. What I have heard from my Gurudev, I am giving. This is generally the process. We should avoid trying to be so brilliant to create new things. Certain personalities have this qualification, and Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaja explained that only when many Mahabhagavats confirm, then we accept it as Shastra. Otherwise, we see the nature of our Guru Varga as they simply have this mood that I am like a fool in front of my Guru. I will simply repeat the words, the conceptions, the teachings that my Gurudev has given. I won't try to one-up him, twist, change, manipulate, or do any of these things. So Gurudev is speaking about parampara. This is how it comes. Not Google Dev, not even database. No, there's a trend, a tendency toward this. Jumping over the head of my Gurudev and trying to outdo him or be smarter than him. We see this very commonly among those who are working in the Sanskrit departments, a publication within the Sanskrit section of any pure Vaishnava. It's quite common that those who are in the highest positions of the Sanskrit department, they start thinking, I'm too intelligent. Oh, my Gurudev didn't understand properly. Let me correct him. And you see what happens as a result. Immediately, all kinds of material desires come, either for Kanaka, Kamini, Pratishta, or all, or some of the above. They leave that Gurudev and they go to do anything else, thinking my Gurudev doesn't understand. And I've seen it too many times within different societies and different institutions. Personalities leave thinking I know more than my Gurudev, and immediately you notice, wait a second, not only have they left their Gurudev, but they also left their wife and went and found a new, much younger one. This is not the symptom of one who is achieving transcendental knowledge by which detachment from this material world comes. This is the symptom of one who has the ego or the mindset that I know more than my Guru. Oh, now I will leave my Guru and I will teach Chaitanya Charitamrita classes here and there. And I've seen Gurudev's reaction. I don't want to see them. How they have rejected and thought, oh, I'm more than my Guru. Our Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada calls it, actually it's a term in in Sanskrit or Bengali, Guru Mara Vidya. First you use your guru, and then when you feel you don't need him anymore, it's the knowledge or the idea that I can kill him once I have received what I need from him. And people have also seen this in relationships of this world, but it is very, very severe aparad if one does this to their Gurudev. Gurudev said, if someone is giving you so much transcendental knowledge, can you ever repay them? If you reject them, if you reject what the blessing that they've given you, you will lose everything. All of your bhakti, everything will be destroyed. And then you will have to suffer as a result. It's natural. This is the result of Vaisnava aparad. Can you repay those personalities who have tried to give you the best thing, who have tried to give you bhakti? So he would say, be very careful for this. Very, very careful. So even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was questioned by Prakashananda Saraswati, what are you doing sitting there? You should be studying Vedanta. He was sitting near where everyone would keep their shoes and wash like that. But he was so beautiful and brilliant and glowing, Gauranga, that they became attracted to him. Although they were contemplating Vedanta and studying and meditating on the Mayavad conceptions of Shankaracharya. But he was so beautiful that their mind was attracted from their oneness toward this beautiful variety. And then they had a conversation with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he told them, they were like, why are you chanting this mantra, Mahamantra? You should be studying Vedanta. He said, my Gurudev, Mahaprabhu said, my Gurudev, Ishwar Puripad, he saw me as a fool. He didn't think I was qualified for these things, so he told me I should just chant Harinam. Simply that. And they saw that he is so humble, then they wanted to hear more from him. But he is so humble. So he was showing by that one should always remain like a fool in relation to their Gurudev. If one thinks I'm more than my Gurudev, I know more, I understand more, let me jump over his head to his great, great gurus, and then find something to prove my Gurudev wrong and then promote that to the world. There's no greater offense than this to Gurudev. And these days we see it as very common. Let me prove my Gurudev wrong. You'll see, instead of taking from so many sources and proving my Gurudev right, I will try to find out one little thing from somewhere. Somebody said at one point, oh, look, it proves my Gurudev is wrong. How can one progress in bhakti with this mood? Guru Nishta is the backbone of bhakti. Gurudev said if we hear anything, even from another Mahabhagavat, that makes us doubt our Guru, even slightly, he said we should get it reconciled immediately, or else that will go in like a seed of doubt. Very quickly it will grow into a big tree and everything will be destroyed. So we should hear carefully. We should see where we're hearing from. Will this increase my faith in my Gurudev, my transcendental Gurudev? Or will it create doubt? If it's creating doubt, then Pranam, Hare Krishna. I don't need to hear this right now. It's creating doubt in my Gurudev. We don't need to even be disrespectful, but as our Gurudev would say, Pranam forever, until reconciliation comes. But we shouldn't be in such a way that we are forced into a situation where we are made to doubt our transcendental Gurudev. That's not favorable for our bhakti. And the function of all of our shiksha, the function of Shiksha Guru is to increase one's faith in their Diksha Guru. And if they fail to do this, then they cannot be considered Shiksha. So if doubt is coming, and more doubt on top of that, and more doubt on top of that, as I mentioned yesterday, we have a responsibility and a duty to ourselves to venture very carefully so that this doubt in our Gurudev, in the lotus feet of our Guru, does not come and produce a situation where our bhakti is destroyed. Right? The only way to attain pure bhakti is by taking shelter of the lotus feet of our Gurudev. Mandomui sadhan mate. Very carefully we must maintain that. That shraddha, that faith is so essential. I mean, it's not that we should be stupid if we see that, sorry if I said stupid, if anyone should not hear that word. It's not that we should be foolish. I've heard Gurudev say stupid and idiot before. So, it's not that we should be foolish and accept just any kind of anything in the name of bhakti or any kind of nonsense. We should have our eyes open. And we should see from Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. But if our Gurudev is transcendental and pure and representing purely, then we should see, yes, by his actions, by his words, by his moods, by his practice, by his preaching, everything is spotless. Then we should be very careful that nothing should enter that will make us doubt the transcendental pure character of our Gurudev. This will ruin the ability of the disciple to progress, to move forward on the path of bhakti. So it is so essential that we're very, very careful and guarded in this connection. Let me just see, there's been a lot of comments. Oh, Jiva Pavana Prabhu is?
What is the mandir? Very nice.
Another devotee who has been a devotee for many years, Anadi Krishna Prabhu. Oh, that's the one here in Vrindavan, I believe. It says that he just passed away. He left this world. So we should say a prayer for him. I don't believe that I know him, but Hare Krishna. He's so fortunate that he was able to be in Vrindavan. I think he was in the Bhaktivedanta hospice. In this connection also, Damayanti Didi from Perth, Australia, who's also heading up or helping to head up the Golden Avatar School in Navadvip. She recently sent us a message that her father is on his way to departing from this world. So if we could also say a prayer for his benefit, that may he develop unprecedented bhakti, love and devotion for Guru Gauranga and Radha and Krishna. We can pray for him as well. Actually, we should pray for everyone. As Prahlad Maharaj, he took this mood that let the sins of everyone come into me, but let everyone receive liberation. The best thing we can do for everyone in this world is to become pure devotees of Krishna ourselves, and whoever we meet, wherever we go, remind or tell anyone about Krishna, his names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. So anuvaranayat means it has passed on from one to another. So what Vyasadeva taught to Shukadev, he taught to Parikshit Maharaj. Also at that time, Shonaka heard from Shukadev Goswami, and Sutta Goswami. Sutta Goswami heard from Shukadev Goswami. He was also blessed by Baladev Prabhu directly. And this Sutta Goswami described the very same thing in the assembly of the sages that he had received from his Gurudev. If it is described like this and one listens with faith, what will happen? Bhaktim Param Bhagavati. Param means Krishna, the best of all tattva. He's known as Paratattva, the supreme absolute truth. So if you listen in this mood with faith, through parampara, then the best of all tattva, Krishna, Bhagavati, Bhaktim Param Bhagavati, one will obtain bhakti for him. And that bhakti will become so intense that pratilabdya kamam hridrogam ashu, one will obtain the prem of the gopis. So remember, bhakti is exclusively for Krishna's happiness, his pleasure, and especially his benefit, and it is devoid of any other desire. It has no selfish self-interest, only what is for him. So by this process, that bhakti for Krishna will become so intense that one will obtain the prem of the gopis. If you are hearing about their love and affection for Krishna from the right source with the right mood. And by obtaining that, what will happen? The disease in the heart. What is the disease in the heart? What is the prime disease in the heart? First person to tell it gets a prize. Prime disease in the heart. Another term for it is hridrogam. What is the English? The disease of what in the heart? Will be uprooted. What is that disease? The lust that men and women have for one another. Very good, Shyam Prabhu. Very good.
I got it too.
Sudevi, yes, very good. The lust that men and women have for one another. And these days we must also acknowledge the lust that men and men have for one another, and the lust that women and women have for one another, and whatever else, all the different kinds of lust that's acceptable these days in terms of relationship. All of it, which is not aimed exclusively at Krishna, but which has its selfish, self-serving, enjoying tendency at its core, which clouds a person's intelligence. It creates so much strife amongst lower species, such as animals and birds, than what to speak of the effect it has on people, on humans. This lust is so all-encompassing that when the desire comes for anything, we think, I am its enjoyer, I am its master. One time we were in New Braj, in Badger, and Srila Gurudev said something which was quite interesting. I think he was telling it to Nirguna Prabhu. He was saying something quite interesting. I mean, there was many devotees there. And he said, in the West, people are so lusty. And I was thinking, I don't know if that's true, because it seems like they're lusty everywhere, including India. He said, no, they're more lusty in the West. And then Gurudev began to explain why. He said, in the West, most people know that when any desire manifests in their heart, at any time, day or night, they can fulfill it. We have enough money. We have enough capacity. Shops are open 24/7. You can just go online and order something, and the next day, one day, it's there. He said so because of the knowledge of the capacity to instantaneously fulfill it, then that desire fully manifests. So he said, this is why people are so lusty. He said, in India, especially in remote villages and places like this, a desire might come, but they don't have this conception that, oh, I'll be able to fulfill that. These days, it's happening a lot more. But, you go out to the villages in India, there's not everyone has the capacity to just go online and buy the latest $1,000 iPhone or whatever.
But that is meaning lust, not just between men and women or like
I already spoke that.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be different kinds of lust, what we're capable of fulfilling? If they don't have those things, lust will come out in a different way, wouldn't it?
Srila Gurudev, when he was explaining that, he was talking about the ability to instantaneously gratify it. Now, in the West, if you get a crush on someone else's wife or husband, it's considered kind of okay to follow that, because they preach that love is never wrong. And you see it everywhere. But in India, if you were to do that, you might get yourself killed. So there's something which is holding you back. There's a little bit of dharma left. A little bit. Something, and it's being hacked away as fast as possible, but there's something remaining. Something. If somebody is married, then the entire village is supporting that marriage and not supporting a dharma in that. So there's something which is holding them back. The desire might come, but then the knowledge comes, if I go through with this, I could get myself killed. So then there's a block. But in the Western countries, it's considered okay, normal, fine, no problem, whatever, just follow your heart and everything is cool. So this creates a situation where that lust becomes inflamed because I know that I can satisfy it and there's nothing holding me back. Society supports it. Society endorses anything adharma, and if you try to follow dharma, society looks at you like you are crazy and foolish and backward and archaic. In fact, even here in Vrindavan, because Sudevi and I support dharma, some locals were joking about us. Oh my God, you guys, locals, you guys are so antiquated and backwards. You guys belong like with a big turban on a horse cart. How antiquated you are in terms of dharma. And I'm looking, okay, but you can mock me like that, but this is what my Gurudev, my Guru Varga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the process of bhakti, expect. So we should try to please them, not the senses of the people in this world. But yeah, this kind of joking goes on. Why are you religious? You know, this kind of thing. Why are you following dharma? So even in India now, it's considered like taboo to follow any dharma. It's starting to become more and more taboo. And adharma is being glorified. You know, so where one person might like to be very honest and tell the truth, so many will like to make up false things and tell lies and manipulate and do these things, not realizing that they are responsible for hacking at the last leg of dharma, the bull. Hacking at that last leg, breaking down that last thing, which is truthfulness. So, in this case, it flows along with what Srila Gurudev is saying, how this lust is so all-encompassing that when the desire comes for anything, we think, I am its enjoyer, I am its master. So when that capacity comes to fulfill it, immediately that inflames more. It's almost like putting ghee on the fire. Srila Prabhupada would always say that. By scratching the itching feeling, it only makes the itch come even stronger. By adding ghee to the fire, you're only increasing the fire. By instantaneously fulfilling all of your desires, then you're not doing any tapasya. The result is you're only inflaming those lusty desires. So tapasya is there. Srila Prabhupada said, without tapasya, you cannot make progress on the path of bhakti. Tapasya or austerity is necessary. Voluntary austerity, giving up my self-serving tendency for what purpose? So that I can serve the transcendental senses of Krishna. So our Gurudev would say this also when it came to parikrama. Look at what you're doing. You come from the West, you always have shoes and socks and soft things to step on, but you're coming to Vrindavan and you're doing voluntary austerity during parikrama. What are you doing? You're walking without shoes. Your feet are blistering on the hot road, or stepping on so many sharp stones or thorns or anything. But you're doing this austerity for Krishna, and when Krishna sees that you are voluntarily doing this austerity for me, he said Krishna's heart will melt and he will give his mercy. So voluntarily giving up the extent of my self-serving tendency for Gurudev and for Krishna, then they will say, oh, you're making an endeavor, you're trying. This is tapasya. Like chaturmasya, for example.
And just one thing I wanted to add that Gurudev in that context was saying, that we work so hard for everything in this world, for our jobs, for our internet, for our children, for our family members, for our house. We struggle and we work and we cry and we do so much hard endeavor. And that's when he said, and when Krishna sees that we make even a little endeavor for a week in Navadvip or for a month, anyway, something, he was speaking like that then Krishna's heart begins to melt. Not that it's Krishna likes to see us suffer, but because we suffer for everything material, when finally we turn toward Krishna and he sees that the endeavor is so strong, he begins to melt. I just wanted to add that because it could sound like, oh, he wants to see you struggle and suffer.
He does want to see us make an endeavor, like Mother Yashoda. She was making an endeavor, but that was an endeavor of love. But still, the point Sudevi made is true, what Gurudev said. And also, I remember we were doing a program in Delhi. We were with our mridanga player at the time, Madhu Mangal. And he said, we can give up so many things for our own health. Right?
Right.
We'll give up fried foods and sweets and this and that, and we'll eat bitter melon and so many things that maybe we don't normally want to do, but for our health, we will give up so many things just for our health. Why can't we do something for Krishna, for Gurudev, for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? We should do something for their pleasure and happiness. How much we can give up for our own self. We should be able to do some tapasya for their pleasure and benefit. And this will result in the increase of bhakti in our lives. Thank you, Sudevi, for bringing that up. So Gurudev is saying, even in regard to such basic things as food and clothing, any desire for personal enjoyment whatsoever, it is all lust. So lust is not only sexual, as I said before. Lust means the desire to enjoy through the medium of my senses, my gross and subtle senses. What are the subtle senses? Mind, intelligence, false ego. And gross senses, this is tongue, sense of taste, sense of sound, smell, touch, all of these things. Did I miss one? Sight. I knew I missed something. Through the medium of my senses, trying to enjoy and exploit material nature for my own selfish, self-serving tendency whatsoever, any desire for personal enjoyment whatsoever, it is all lust. There are so many types of lust, from gross to subtle. But by hearing about the gopis' transcendental desire for Krishna, what is their desire for him? To serve him, for his happiness, his pleasure, and his benefit. This is called bhakti. Then automatically the heart disease of worldly desire, otherwise known as lust, which binds us in this material world birth after birth, this can be uprooted. So that lust means my selfish, self-serving tendency can be uprooted by hearing about the gopis' transcendental lust, which is actually prem, love for Krishna. That's how this lust can be uprooted. And then prem, that entity which couldn't be obtained by millions of lifetimes of attempts at purification by our own efforts, will gradually come. So here, I feel that Srila Gurudev is referencing something. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is that verse, Krishna bhakti rasabhavitamati kriyatam yadi kutopi labhyate tatra lolyam api mulyam ekalam janma koti shukritayar na labhyate. Millions of births, janma koti shukritayar, of attaining, of doing good things and obtaining good merits, meaning also my own endeavors for self-purification. Millions of lifetimes of that. This cannot give bhakti or Krishna bhakti ras. Na labhyate. It cannot give it. What is the root qualification for the attainment of Krishna bhakti ras? Tatra lolyam apimulyam ekalam. The only. Ekalam means exclusive or only. Mulyam means root. So the only root cause of the awakening of Krishna bhakti rasa means the tendency to and the desire to serve Krishna in our heart is the intense, greedy desire to have it. And greed can be for mundane things or spiritual things. If applied to mundane things, it will degrade one infinitely. And greed is applied to Krishna or to Krishna bhakti rasa, then this will increase one's position and enhance one, not position like material position, but their infatuation, their absorption, and their affection for Krishna infinitely. That is what is the drive, utsaha. The enthusiasm is that intense desire to attain it, and that is the root qualification. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavitamati kriyatam yadi kitopi labhyate tatra lolyam api mulyam ekalam janma koti shukritaya na labhyate. Gurudeva is saying, millions of lifetimes of attempts at purification by our own efforts cannot bring this about. But hearing of their pastimes, the way that they love and serve Krishna, how their hearts are desiring to serve Him, this can come, this transcendental prema can manifest in our hearts gradually. Just see how something that is degraded in the worldly sense can at once be made pure when performed for Bhagavan's pleasure. Isn't that amazing? Sometimes we've heard of the example of a tree. In fact, Bhagavad-gita tells about a tree. How it's reflected in the water. Now, when you see the reflection in the water, the roots are on top and the top of the tree is on the bottom. When you see it on land, the root is on the bottom and the top of the tree where the fruits are, that is on top. So, in this material world, everything is said to be a perverted reflection of the transcendental realm. So perverted reflection. Think about a lake on a windy day and the reflection of the tree in that lake. It's ephemeral. It's not the real thing. It might look like it is, but it's perverted and it's upside down, backwards. It's reversed. So that thing which is considered the lowest and most degraded here, when applied to Krishna, is the highest and the supreme topmost. That adulterous activity here, when applied to Krishna, is the highest. So Srila Gurudev said, just see how something that is degraded in the worldly sense can at once be made pure when performed for Bhagavan's pleasure. And that I mentioned the other day, Gurur Nasasyat. Rejecting one's guru, this is considered the lowest thing, but for the pleasure of Bhagavan, highest. Rejecting one's father, this can be considered very low, but for Krishna's pleasure and benefit, happiness, this is the highest thing. So all of these examples are given. Gurur nasasyat, svajano nasasyat, pita nasasyaj, etc. Therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, to eradicate your bad qualities, to control your mind, and to rid yourself of lust, all of your personal efforts will prove futile. Did you get that? If you try on your own, by your own power and your own strength, to purify your heart and to remove lust, to purify yourself, it will be useless, futile. We cannot do it on our own. Like Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, Ekaki amar nahi paye bal harinam san. On my own, I have no strength. I have no power. And I remember the shlok from the other day. I had forgotten it and accidentally misquoted. I quoted a different shlok. But the shlok states in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Maya Mugdha Jiva Nahi Svata Krishna Gyan. That the jiva, by his own power, cannot extract himself from Maya. He doesn't have that capacity on his own. He doesn't have that strength on his own. So here, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, to eradicate our bad qualities, control our mind, and rid ourselves of lust, all of our personal efforts will be futile. In millions and millions of lives, it will not happen. So if we know that, and we can accept the words of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, then we shouldn't waste our time. Just do one thing. Okay, this is they're speaking to us now. Don't waste your time for millions of lives trying to purify yourself on your own power. Do one thing. And don't worry. What is that? Practice devotion unto the Supreme Lord by engaging in hearing, chanting, and remembrance. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. There are so many kinds of narrations about Krishna, but the descriptions of the Rasa Lila, wherein Krishna is sporting with the gopis, are the topmost. If someone becomes absorbed in them, day and night, he will find no free time for anything else. So how could he possibly become engaged in any sinful activity? If one is truly absorbed day and night in Tannama Rupa Charitari Sukirtananu, means glorifying and diving deep into the glories of Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes, then Gurudev is saying, how will they find any free time for anything else? If someone is finding free time for anything else, that means they're not absorbed 24 hours. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada says about such persons, even one moment out of the day, if they are not absorbed in Krishna, but one moment absorbed in anything else, I could never willingly submit myself to that person and accept them as Guru. He actually said if they were absorbed 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds of the day in Krishna, but even one moment not, then I could never accept. Maybe you can associate with such a person, but not accept them as that person who will save me, who can deliver me from the clutches of material existence unto the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Only someone who is completely, spotlessly transcendental and pure can do such a thing, which means they have not one tinge of any material attraction or inebriety whatsoever. So here, it's not possible to become engaged in any sinful activity. That person is really Dhira, one whose intelligence is fixed. Dhira means sober. One whose intelligence is fixed. How is their intelligence fixed? Always remembering Krishna's pastimes, always chanting his holy names, glorifying his forms and qualities. This is fixed. So something here Gurudev said, just do one thing and don't worry. Practice devotion unto the Supreme Lord by engaging in the processes of bhakti. So there's that verse in Srimad Bhagavatam wherein Kapila Dev is speaking. And he says, by the process of devotional service, bhakti yoga, all other things, means the subtle body even, the mind and intelligence and false ego, is gradually dissolved, just as food, when placed into your stomach acids, is dissolved. So, by the process of bhakti, by the process of loving devotional service, automatically all of those material inebrities are removed. Now, Gurudeva is quoting one verse, and then I will end. Tesham satati yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhiyogam tam yena mam upayanti te. This is from Bhagavad Gita 10:10. To those who are sincerely devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So here Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, bhajatam priti purvakam. Priti means with love and affection. And purva means completely. And bhajatam. Bhajatam means doing bhajan. Bhajan means all the practices of bhakti. Tesham satata yuktana, who is connecting to me with love and devotion. Dadami, I give. Buddhi yogam. Yoga means to connect or to link. And buddhi means the intelligence. Yena mam upayam. How they can reach me, I give them that knowledge and that understanding, if they are approaching me with love and devotion. So to those who are sincerely devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So Gurudev is saying, just do this one thing. In this verse, the word buddhi means the intelligence that gives Bhagavan. It is full of mercy. In one place, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, O Krishna, you are very merciful. You said, Dadami Buddhi Yogam, means that you will give this transcendental knowledge. Please give me Buddhi Yoga. And you may ask, which Buddhi Yoga do you want? The Buddhi Yoga that I gave to Arjuna? But I don't desire that. For Arjuna, it was all right. For those people who desire that variety of Buddhi Yoga, it is all right. But to me, please give that Buddhi Yoga by which even you become bewildered and forget yourself, in which you sport with the gopis, and by serving which one completely forgets himself. So he's asking the Buddhi Yoga, or the transcendental knowledge by which he can attain Braja Prem. This is only in Braj where Bhagavan completely forgets himself, and that all the Brajavasis completely forget that he is Bhagavan. All they know is that they love him. All he knows is that he loves them, and they know that they love each other. Love is running, is controlling everything. So please give me, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, please give me that transcendental knowledge, that divine intelligence, Buddhi Yogam, in which one completely forgets themselves, to become the servant of the gopis, to become lost in that service and forget everything else. So not just Braja Prem, but what kind of Braja Prem? Bhaktim Param Bhagavatim Pratilabdya Kama. This kind of prem, the prem of the gopis, Kamatmika or Kamanuga, Bhakti, serving that kind of love and devotion, and specifically serving the love of Radha and Madhava. So here, he's saying, to become the servant of the gopis, to become lost in that service and forget everything else. I want that intelligence. As Mahaprabhu says, Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur Das Das Anudas. To become the servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis, of Krishna, who is the beloved of the gopis. This kind of mood. Servant of the servant of the servant. For those who are serving you, having forgotten everything else and being intoxicated in that service, you are doing everything in the form of an ordinary human being. Please be merciful and inspire that Buddhi Yoga within me. Such dhira, steadiness, is what I desire. Give me that intelligence by which I can come to you in this way. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has offered such a beautiful prayer to Bhagavan, and no one can offer a higher prayer than this. So here Gurudev is actually explaining something interesting. We have to be careful. Krishna can try to trick us. He may try to offer us anything else. So in our prayers to Krishna, we must be extremely specific and very explicit with our specificity. One time, Sudevi?
Yeah?
Can you tell?
Which one?
When we were in Fiji, sitting across from Gurudev on the couch?
I don't remember what you're talking about.
When phone call?
You tell me.
Oh, I wanted everyone to see you. So, we were in Fiji with Srila Gurudev. He came out of his room to take a phone call. And we were sitting on the couch across maybe 8 meters away, 20 feet, something like that, 7 meters. Gurudev was sitting there taking his phone call, and we were just admiring him. Oh, how sweet, look, Gurudev's talking on the phone. And after he finished his phone call, he hung it up, and then he looked over at Sudevi. And I was sitting next to her, and he said, oh, you should also call me from time to time. And then he put his hand to his ear, and he said, hello, my darling daughter. And she's looking at Gurudev like, what's he doing? And I said, I think he's playing phone. Pick up the phone. So she puts her hand to her ear like this, and she's like, hello?
No, I said, hey, Gurudev.
Hey, Gurudev, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm talking to you. Can you tell it?
I said, how are you? He said, I am fine.
Yeah, that's why I asked you to tell it. I don't remember. How are you, Gurudev? He said, I'm fine. She said, what are you doing, Gurudev? He said, I'm talking to you. Then he slams his phone down. He didn't have a phone, he just had his fist. And then he said, you should be very careful. So we went up to him. We sat in front of him and he looked at her and he said, Krishna, he will try to make you a queen in Dwarka. And she said, oh, Gurudev, I'm not afraid of Krishna. He said, no, why not? She said, because I know you will protect me. And he said, yes. So the point I'm making is that Krishna is very tricky. He will try to give you so many things. First, oh, you want some money? You want any beautiful new girlfriend or boyfriend? Do you want any position, power, or anything? Okay, you can easily have that. Do you want so many other things? Do you want gadgets? What do you want? Oh, I'll give you anything very easily. Or you can even have Vaikuntha. But here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is making a very specific, one-pointed, exclusive prayer. I don't want any of this other stuff. You're saying Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mam Upayantite. You will give the understanding, that knowledge by which I can come to you. How do I want to come to you? Only one way. What is the prayer that Srila Gurudev gave to us?
Shama Sundar Shikanda Shik.
Whenever we would go to Radha Kund and then Shyama Kund, Gurudev would have us pray only one prayer. Oh Krishna, if he was to ever stand in front of us, Gurudev would say, if Krishna were ever to stand in front of you, what prayer should you have? You should only have this prayer. From this, what is it? Shri Radha Prarthana. There in that, it starts with Kripayati Yadi Radha, but he would tell us the second verse. Shyama Sundar Shikanda Shekara Snerahasa Murali Manohara Radhika Disikamam Kripanidhe Swapriya Charana Kinkarin Kuru. Oh Krishna, oh Shyama Sundar, who has a peacock feather in his hair, who's mildly smiling. If you can give me anything, I only want one thing. What is that?
Make me a kinkari.
Swapriya Charana Kinkarin Kuru. Please make me a maidservant at the lotus feet of your dear most beloved. Who is that? Radhika. Padatade Kritastitim Vambajami Rasekendra Shekara. At the feet of your dearest beloved, Srimati Radhika. Please make me a maidservant of Srimati Radhika. So it's very, very specific. So we should be careful about Krishna. He will try to give you anything else. That's why we must always be under the guidance of Rupanuga Jan. Tishtam Brajetat Anuragi Jananugami. They can even protect us from Krishna. Krishna becomes the property of the maidservants of Srimati Radhika. So how our prayer is and under what guidance we do our bhakti, this is essential. This is essential for us. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is showing us here how careful, how specific and exclusive we should be. That I only want to be the maidservant, the Palyadasi of Srimati Radhika, in the gun, in the group of Lalita Sakhi, under the guidance of Shri Rupa Manjari. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanam Guru Varga ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Shri Gurudev ki jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai Param Guru ki jai Shri Ram ki jai Sachinandana Gaur Hari ki jai Radha Vidhari ki jai Giriraj Maharaj ki jai Harinam Sankirtan ki jai Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol Govinda Ram Madhave Govinda Ram Madhave Govinda Ram Govinda Ram Madhave Bolo Radhe 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe 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 Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Shyam Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So thank you all very much for being with us today and giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga, and for engaging us in our service to our Gurudev, which is our life and soul. For that, we are indebted to all of you. We look forward to being with you tomorrow, same time, same place. And Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Happy birthday.
Mahavishnu, happy birthday.